Trump says the ceasefire is holding. Iran says Israel has already violated it. And on day 40 of this war, the biggest question is no longer whether a deal exists. It is whether that deal is already falling apart. Here is what happened. A fragile 2-week ceasefire between the United States and Iran is now under severe pressure after a massive wave of Israeli strikes on Lebanon. Lebanon has declared a day of mourning after more than 200 people were killed and over 1,000 wounded in a single day of attacks. CNN reported at least 182 killed, the BBC put the number at 203, and Al Jazeera said the toll had climbed even higher as the aftermath unfolded. What all three reports make clear is this: it was one of the deadliest days Lebanon has seen since the conflict began. And this is where the ceasefire crisis begins. The United States and Israel say Lebanon is not included in the ceasefire deal with Iran. Iran and Pakistan say it is. That disagreement is not technical, it is explosive. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said the attacks on Lebanon blatantly violate the ceasefire and prove deception and non-compliance, making negotiations meaningless. But Netanyahu says Israel will keep striking Hezbollah wherever necessary until security is restored in the north. Now look at the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says shipping stopped after what it called Israel's ceasefire violation in Lebanon. The scale of that threat is enormous. CNN reports this war has already created the biggest oil supply shock on record, choking off roughly 12 to 15 million barrels of crude oil a day. Saudi Aramco's vital Abqaiq facility, responsible for around 5% of global oil supply, has been hit, and hundreds of ships are trapped in the region, including 426 tankers. The BBC says only 9 ships crossed the strait after the ceasefire announcement, compared with a pre-war average of 138 a day. And diplomacy is still somehow moving through all of this chaos. Vice President J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner are expected in Islamabad this weekend for talks aimed at turning this temporary ceasefire into something permanent. But one of the biggest obstacles is nuclear enrichment. The head of Iran's nuclear agency has now ruled out any restrictions on uranium enrichment, one of Washington's biggest demands. That means the talks may begin with one of the core issues already deadlocked. And the human toll keeps rising. BBC reports Iranian media now say more than 3,000 people have been killed in Iran since February 28. Rights monitors say at least 1,701 civilians are among the dead, including 254 children. In Beirut, hospitals are overwhelmed, families are waiting outside morgues, and relatives are being asked for DNA samples to identify bodies. So that is where Day 40 stands. The ceasefire exists on paper. Lebanon may or may not be inside it, depending on who you ask. Oil routes are still frozen, the death toll is still rising, and the negotiations meant to save this deal are about to begin, with both sides already accusing each other of deception. Subscribe now. Day 41 drops next.